Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So it's time for the full review of the BlackBerry Passport Silver Edition. Now I reviewed the BlackBerry Passport, all the other colors a while back, a year ago, maybe more. And this phone isn't any different really. It's just a different body. And that's pretty much it. It gave an upgrade on the outside. The internals were pretty good. So let's take a look at that first. The internals, here's what makes this phone tick. It's got a 4.5-inch 1440 by 1440 display, and that's about 453 pixels per inch for the techies. It does run BlackBerry 10.3 and all those other zeros behind it. It was officially released in 2014 as of September, so it's been about 2 years since the actual BlackBerry Passport was released. But it has a 13 megapixel camera that shoots in 1080p at 60 frames per second or 720p at 60 frames per second. 3 gigs of RAM with a Snapdragon 801 and a 3450 milliamp hour battery. That's pretty impressive for back when it first released. Now, it does have 32 gigs of built-on storage and an SD card slot, so that's pretty good. And the applications that go on from BlackBerry World are not very big, so the phone has lots of memory left. Battery life on this phone, let's jump right in. As you can see, I'm jumping in. Battery life on this phone, it's really, really good. So, as you can see here, you can see the last time I actually charged it was just recent. I took off, it had died on me, so I took it off the charger. And you can kind of see there, the average battery life is 2 days and about 10 hours or so. It's been off the charger for about 3.5 hours almost. I am on LTE and I got 89% left. And, you know, it just says it has about 2 days or more battery life left. And that is pretty accurate. The phone lasts a long time on battery. There's just no getting around that. It is a very good phone on battery. Now, how does the battery stand up against phones of today? The battery life gets a 10. It's better than some other phones that I have in my catalog. And it's just a really good battery. And I'm very glad that they packed in 3450 milliamps in there in this phone right here. So it feels really good. So taking a look at the body of this phone. Let's jump to hardware. A little dust on it. The phone has a 13 megapixel on the back, new design from the other one. The LED flashed up here. This pops off and there's an SD card slot and a SIM tray in there. On the top, the headphone jack, a little groove there to take it off, and the power button. And on the back here, it's got this very nice grippy material. On this side here, this is a dedicated key. You can program it and then the volume up and down. Nothing on this side. And on the bottom, you've got dual bottom firing speakers and a microphone and USB 2. So on the front, you've got a nice 2 megapixel. It's not the best camera. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that. It does shoot at 720p though, so that's pretty good. 2.8 aperture for the techies. But the camera is good when you're using video calling and things like that. It's actually really sharp. 720p is really good. So it does have the 5 gigahertz band, dual band Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, you know, all the norms. It's got its own maps and everything, GPS, NFC. It's got a lot of the stuff that the current phones have. HDR for the camera on the rear, panorama, you know, it's good. It even has optical image stabilization, and the camera is actually really good on here. It doesn't compete with some of today's market, but it is better than a lot of phones that are on the market right now. So like I was saying before, this phone has stereo speakers. This body of this phone is actually metal. The frame runs down there's a metal beam that just runs down the center. That's how they built this phone, and that's a fantastic design. It really is. One of the more important parts of this phone is the keyboard down here. As you can see, this is a touch sensitive keyboard. You see me moving my things around there. That is probably one of the highlights of this phone, is being able to work on documentations in a wide view. That's their slogan, work wide. We've all seen that before. And it actually is true. It is better to have things going this way than this way sometimes. So, but overall, though, the experience is really good. If you're an email hog and you just get 1,000 emails a day, you can pound them out on this phone. You'll get used to this keyboard in no time. Aside from the keyboard being really nice and easy to type on, text messages, everything, all your social media, it's going to look really good on here. You know, when you're responding to it, it's very fast, it's very fluid, it's really nice. So you'll be able to, and you can see here, so I'll open this up so you can see that you can actually use the keyboard to get through social media, get through probably anything that's touch sensitive that you would normally touch the screen for. You can actually use the keyboard here as a trackpad, and it works. Pinch to zoom and everything works on there as well. So the battery gets a 10 to me. The display gets definitely a 10 because it's 1440 by 1440, so the pixel count is really high. For some people, the square display might be so awkward. You know, if you don't own the phone, you'll say, oh, that's just weird. But if you own it, it's different. You get used to it really, really fast, and it is very impressive. I mean, think about this now, 453 pixels per inch. Current phones today have that or less, you know, so weigh it out. Okay, I'm not just going to give this phone a super score either. Don't worry about it. It does fall short in some areas, and we'll get to that. But the screen is definitely a 10 to me, and the battery is a 10. The hardware is a straight up 9.5. So the reason I have to take a point off or half a point off is because from another person's point of view, this will be kind of awkward. They might say, oh, I can't, it's too wide, you know, and I have to take a half a point off for that because, you know, some people just won't be able to use this phone. They'll in their mind, they'll already be not used to it. So then they won't ever really give it a shot. And then also some people just have little hands and they just can't handle it. And they don't want to handle their phone all the time with two hands. For me, obviously, it's pretty easy to use because I have large hands. So the display, about a 9. The body about a 9.5. Speaker quality on this thing is very, very loud. It has stereo speakers and they're bottom firing, but it's still really, really solid. Great speakers on here. It's really, really good. So I give the speakers about a 9. They're not the loudest speakers. And this, after you compare them to certain phones, you know, you got to start being realistic and dropping these points here because it is definitely not the loudest phone I've had in my catalog. So I give the speakers about a 9, the screen a 10, the battery a 10, the body a 9.5 so far. Now, the operating system. Here is where, now this rating comes not so much from my experience overall only, because I've passed this phone to people and they were awed by the way it looked, but when it came to the operating system, I guess certain people just are never going to be able to get on board with BB10. I give BB10 an actual 10. But if I look at real world testing and just the real world aspect of it, this is an old phone. It does have a new body that they gave it a year ago or less than a year ago, but it's just old. The operating system is old, and it's time that I start facing reality about things. Yeah, I can use this as a work phone to help me with a lot of things, but even that's becoming very difficult because certain applications and things I just want to do and I don't want to switch devices. Like I run a YouTube channel, this YouTube channel, and I can't run it from this device anymore. A lot of things are shutting down. You can't really upload anymore. There's just a lot of things that are just not supported anymore. So the operating system really kills it for this phone. I mean, if I had to rank it next to Android or, you know, even Windows Phone, I have to rank this phone really low in the operating system department because it has no more support. And, you know, it kind of gets like a 2 or 3 with me, sadly. But it is what it is. I have to be realistic. I can't be unfair and say this is the top of the line operating system. If I'm thinking of the end user and that's what I have to do, the end user will find this operating system easy to use, but they'll probably get frustrated immediately when they can't find the applications. And I'm not just thinking of younger generation. I got to think about all generations at this point. It's just not something that people are going to enjoy. And, you know, I'm sorry to say that it just gets a very low score for that. It is what it is. So I give the operating system about a 2.5. That takes this overall score to a 51. So if I divide that out, so I got 10 for body, 10 for screen, 10 for battery, 9.5 for 9.5 for display, I think I said, 9 for speakers, and then I divide that by 6 because I got the operating system at 6.1. You divide that 51 by 6 and the phone gets an 8.5. So that's not bad. It's just that I'm starting to kind of face reality, guys. And, you know, I'm just being honest. As much as I love BB10, I'm starting to lose support for everything. And it's becoming very difficult to carry this phone every day. And I find myself just having to grab an Android phone or grab my laptop or something. I don't know. It's just becoming difficult. I'm not straying away from BB10. My overall rating Oh, the phone is at 8.5, but the operating system is going down. I'm just being realistic. It's going down. It is great to use, but it's just not getting any more support, and I'm finding it more and more difficult to actually carry this phone around every day and do simple things that I want to do. So that's my full review of this phone. You know, not a very long review like I normally would do for the BlackBerry, but I'm kind of running out of things to use this phone on, and it's very difficult. It's only I can do with my YouTube channel on here is watch the videos and, you know, do my last scan over them if I'm in another room or something. I got my SIM card in here. But overall, the phone is still great. I could rank it at a 10, but it just wouldn't be realistic. I'm not going to get on video and say this phone is the best anymore, because it's not. The operating system is what's starting to kill it. Other than that, man, I mean, the cameras are really good. Like I said before, the front camera is decent. The rear camera, these cameras don't compete with some of the current phones I have, but they're still good enough and they'll get the job done. So I'll say this: if you have a BlackBerry Passport and you want to upgrade to the silver, I would say do it if you want the new body and the new look. This thing is built like a tank, just like the OG. And if you don't have a Passport, I would say don't get the OG. Go ahead and get this one. If you're thinking about getting a Passport, BlackBerry enthusiasts are the ones who are going to buy this Passport. Look at me. I mean, why wouldn't I want a BlackBerry Passport? I love BlackBerry, a BB10, but I need some support. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just being realistic. I can slam every other operating system when things go wrong, but it's time for me to face reality. And BlackBerry 10 is just not cutting it as much as I needed to. I can still do a lot of documents and Word and things like that on here in PowerPoint, Excel, but like I said before, it's becoming harder for me to carry this every day. So that's my full review of the BlackBerry Passport Silver Edition. Would I recommend it? I sure would. If you're a BlackBerry enthusiast, you need to have this in your catalog. If you don't have a Passport, definitely upgrade to this, because this is the say-all, top-of-the-line BlackBerry to me that they've pushed out. I'm talking about even the DTEC 55 or whatever it's called, DTEC 50, and definitely the slider BlackBerry. Oh my God, it was... Ugh. Anyway, if you're a real BlackBerry fan, you'll have a Passport for sure. I'm not saying that if you don't have one, you're not a BlackBerry fan, but real BlackBerry enthusiasts will have this in their catalog. Does that mean I'm ditching on it? Oh, no, it's going to be here. Because maybe one day they'll give us an update. Who knows? Bring something new, bring more support. But until then, it stops at about an 8.5, solely because of the operating system. I have just completely run out of things to do with it, man. I'm getting very slim to no support at all. So I knew it was kind of already here, but you know, it's just one of those things. So this is still the best keyboard on a device. I'll continue to use it. It's great for text messaging. Early in the middle of the video, I actually got a call because my SIM card is in here. I'm using it. I primarily use this on the weekends a lot, and then during the week, it's like my secondary. It's my main, but it's my secondary because there's a lot of stuff I can't do on here. But other than that, man, the Passport is a boss device. Overall rating from J. Will at this point in 2016 is an 8.5, and I think that's still pretty doggone good. What do you think, guys? I'll see you in the next video. Take care.